You know, after you spend decades in prison, you don't have a pair of pants or a toothbrush or anything to go home with. Walter Lomax had his story and a drive to help prevent others from going down his undeserved path.
Well, he was exonerated, and then what did he do? He started his own organization to help with prison reform. WMAR 2 News' Eddie Kadam sat down with Mr. Lomax and a member of the Mid-Atlantic Innocence Project to see what's being done to open up the failings of this criminal justice system.
40 years in prison for sticking out in a crowd.
We didn't find out until many, many years later that the warrant was never actually for me. It was for one of my brothers for child support. But because they were rounding up hundreds of black males, placing them in mass lineups, they never told me that. And since I was subsequently picked out in one of the lineups, they just felt, well, he was picked out in a lineup, so this is the person we're going to charge with these crimes.
Walter Lomax was charged with 3 murders and a slew of other crimes. Pressure was high in the Baltimore Police Department to clear the books, and he got picked out of a lineup.
They created this false scenario, is that there was a ballistic link between the weapon and all of these crimes. So ergo, they've arrested somebody for one of them. There's a ballistic link to the rest of them. He must be the person who committed all of these crimes.
He says many years later, he found out that the ballistic link they released was fake. The Innocence Project helped overturn that conviction.
They discovered that they had actually framed me for the charges. You know, we found this out way after the fact.
Lomax, now in his 70s, wasn't just okay getting out. He wasn't okay that young black men are still getting profiled into prison cells, or that he or any other exoneree didn't see any compensation for years after being released. So he poured his anger into action by creating the Maryland Restorative Justice Initiative.
Work toward 2 ends. One is that they be adequately compensated, and 2, they be compensated in a timely fashion. I think that those things are very, very, very important.
Between 2014 and October of 2019, no one in Maryland was compensated under the law.
Before 2016, compensation required a gubernatorial pardon, which was hard to come by. Advocacy groups like the Innocence Project put pressure on a board run by the governor and finally compensated 5 men, including Lomax, in 2019.
Finally, after a public pressure campaign, they were acted on, but now we're trying to change the law to ensure that that doesn't happen again, to ensure that compensation is not exactly automatic, but is more automatic.
In Annapolis, a bill that speeds up compensation will be voted on during this session. Under it, an administrative law judge decides who gets compensated and removes the burden of getting a gubernatorial pardon. The compensation would be the 5-year average of household median income, which is currently $78,000 a year, and would have to be paid within 60 days of a ruling.
We had to go through a rigorous process just to get to that point. And so if you figure I've been a free man since 2006, that's 13 years that it took me to get to a point where I could be compensated.
Getting the exoneree's financial compensation quickly helps with the after. The other bill is focused on prevention. One of the big factors in wrongful conviction is the testimony of jailhouse informants, about 20% of the time. What this bill would do would create a statewide database that not only prosecutors but the defense would have access to when somebody testifies more than once.
There are some jailhouse informants who almost make a career of this. So people all over the state are confessing to them. And that is incredibly problematic. It's also not something police and prosecutors are necessarily in a position to know.
Knowing is something that kept Walter Lomax going for 40 years.
Every time that door closes, you know that you're in jail. It's not like you living in an unconscious state or there's just anything wrong with that.
There is no compensation or justice that can make up for decades of relationships lost with his children, who now have children of their own.
We have a cordial relationship, but imagines that I wasn't there for graduations. I wasn't there for doing milestones in their life.
Making the best of the time he has left to prevent time from being stolen from others like him. In Baltimore, Eddie Kadam, WMAR 2 News.
That's how it works.
All right, today there was a hearing on the bill designed to speed up compensation for the the exonerees, and the bill about jailhouse informants will be heard in Annapolis. That'll be coming up tomorrow. Parts 1 and 2 of the Exonerated but Not Free are on wmar2news.com waiting for you right now, where you can see the full stories and learn more about becoming part of a changing narrative.